Hello, football fans, and welcome to another edition of the Banner Press Coaches Show. I am Banner Press Sports Editor Joe Alberico, and I'm once again joined by Blinn College head football coach Ryan Mahon. Coach, I know your team had a rough weekend in Miami, Oklahoma, with a tough 42-12 loss at the hands of conference foe Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. How have you and the team kind of been handling the last few days after the tough setback?
Well, it's a situation where everything you can learn from it, and we've been harping on that. I mean, there's very many different situations where, can you learn from this? Can you bounce back from that? And I think we've done that for the most part. I mean, any loss is going to be tough, and it's going to be tough up until you get that next game. So, but we've set that beside us. We can't go back in time, and we're trying to move forward.
So obviously, as far as the national championship aspirations go, this loss probably kind of all but ends, a shot at that. But there are still definitely some achievable goals for the rest of the season. You got the conference title that's still obtainable. Obviously, your seeding is there. So kind of expand on the shift in focus as you go forward, because there's 3 games left, and each of those are still very important.
Well, the focus is always that next game for us. The end game, wherever it's going to end up being, will be the definition of what this team is. I won't know until we get there, but I know this team's going to fight all the way to the end. But our big focus right now is just Cisco, and that's the only thing we can control.
So you talked about learning from the loss. What is the biggest lesson maybe you think the team has learned?
They fought through adversity. They did a really good job there. The big thing that I think we pulled from there is they didn't give up. Now, we played poorly, and there's no question about that. That was evident on film. But they never stopped. They never stopped trying. They didn't get negative with each other. We could have really had an implosion, and that wasn't the case. I think it actually brought us closer. So that, I think, is the biggest learning thing, or the biggest thing we pulled away from that game.
The offense never, quite got going, and that's something you guys really hadn't been accustomed to. For the most part, pretty explosive throughout the first several weeks of the season. Guys had 284 yards of offense and just the 1 touchdown. What do you attribute the off night to?
We just kept stubbing our toe. I mean, on everything, it'd be a drop ball here, a guy that ran the wrong route there, a holding call, a mistimed holding call where, it kills your series. And it just seemed like it snowballed from there. We kept swinging, and we kept missing. But that's something that's just, you go out and you just work on just being consistent. And what can you do just with the little things? If you work on those little things, all that stuff will add up. And that's been our main focal point this week.
So you mentioned Cisco. Are you pretty optimistic that your team can make the necessary corrections in time to get ready for the Wranglers coming here? That's a tough ball club.
No, it is. They're very well coached on both sides of the ball. They're a tough, spunky team, and we're going to have to bring everything we've got. I'm glad it's at home. It's our final home game of the regular season. So, we've got to make the corrections. We've got a good first couple practices under our belt, but we've got to continue. The hay's definitely not in the barn by any stretch. We're just in the beginning of the week. So with a good attitude and positive outlook, I think we're going to be okay, but we'll see when we get there.
So overall and in the conference, Cisco is similar to you in record, 4-2 and 2-2. They throw the ball pretty well. They run the ball pretty well. What are you guys expecting from them? What can you tell me about them offensively and defensively?
They're going to throw primarily to begin with, but they also got a really good back. So they've been more balanced this year than they have been in years past, so we expect that. So we've just got to make sure we do our job, and not try to point the finger or do somebody else's job for them. And if we could do that at a consistent basis, I think we'll be okay.
Are there any changes that you're looking at offensively? I know you had the victory over Trinity Valley, obviously, but it was 10-6 with low scoring, and obviously 12 points against NEO. Is there kind of a not back to the drawing board, but maybe just maybe some tweaks and some things to figure out a way to unleash that magic again?
Well, just get back down to the basics. That's the big thing that we've got to do. We weren't poor beforehand. We're not poor now. It's just one of those things where you believe in it. You got to go out and just do your job. And we couldn't throw a 35-yard or 35-point touchdown. And a lot of guys, they thought that we had to go and do all that.
Right.
And we got out of ourselves a little bit. But just getting right back down to the basics, I think, is what we're going to do, and we'll be all right.
All right, Coach. Well, I want to thank you again for joining us, and have a good week of practice. We'll see you Saturday night. Fans, thank you, and we will see you in Week 8.